I woke up to the sound of her humming in the kitchen. "Coffee or tea?" I asked, pulling the blanket tighter around me. "Both," she replied without looking back. "So you can't complain." I laughed, rolling out of bed. "You always think you're so clever." "You love it," she shot back, smiling over her shoulder. I followed the smell of fresh coffee, watching her move around the small kitchen like she owned the world. "You really think we're normal?" I teased. She turned, eyebrows raised. "Normal? Since when did we aim for normal?" I grinned. "Since forever, I guess. Normal is safe." Her laughter filled the room. I swallowed a knot in my chest. "I don't want anything else," I admitted softly. She tilted her head. "Is that supposed to sound romantic or creepy?" "Both," I said. "Exactly both." Later, I met Rayhan for breakfast at the cafe around the corner. I was still smiling like an idiot. "You're glowing," he said. "Or are you delusional again?" I shoved him playfully. "Jealous, are we?" "Hardly," he muttered. "Just saying, sometimes people aren't what they seem, Armin." I frowned, raising an eyebrow. "That's vague. Care to elaborate?" "I'd rather not ruin your perfect illusion," he said, sipping his coffee. I laughed, though a tiny prick of unease slipped into my chest. Rayhan always had that look, the one that made me second-guess myself. I shoved it aside. He was always dramatic. That evening, she suggested a walk in the park. I grabbed my jacket, feeling like the luckiest man alive. "You've been quiet," she noted, looping her arm through mine. "Just enjoying this," I said. You," she smiled softly, but her eyes seemed distant for a second. I blinked, thinking I imagined it. Later, back at her apartment, I noticed her phone buzzing on the table. A message preview flashed. "See you tonight. Don't tell him." I froze. My heart thumped hard. "Who's that?" I asked, trying to sound casual. She glanced at me, raising an eyebrow. Nothing. Just work stuff." I laughed, a little too loudly. "Right work stuff?" Something in me tightened, a small knot I couldn't untie. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to trust completely. We sat on the couch, her head resting against my shoulder. "You're quiet tonight," she murmured. "I'm fine," I said. "Just tired." "Don't lie to me," she whispered, looking up at me. "I am not," I lied. The night went on, and I tried to focus on the warmth of her presence, the comfort of her hand in mine. But my mind kept drifting back to that message, to the words I wasn't supposed to see. I couldn't shake it. I tried to laugh it off, to convince myself it was nothing. But deep down, a thread of doubt had woven itself into my chest. I said goodnight, kissing her forehead. "Sleep well." "Good night," she replied, voice soft and unreadable. I walked home, replaying the day in my head. Rayhan's words echoed faintly. "People aren't always what they seem." I shook my head. "No, not her. She's perfect. I know her. I trust her." Still, my stomach churned as I pulled out my keys. That night, the perfect illusion felt fragile, like glass teetering on the edge of a table. And I didn't know it yet, but by morning, everything would begin to unravel. I woke up with a dull ache in my chest. The message from last night was still burning in my mind, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I grabbed her phone from the table while she was in the shower. There it was again, a series of messages I wasn't supposed to see. "Can't wait to see you tonight. Are you sure he won't find out?" I felt my hands shake. "No, this can't be real," I muttered to myself. When she came out, wrapped in a towel, I tried to act casual. "Hey, who's this?" I asked, tapping her phone. She frowned. "What are you talking about?" "That message. The one I just saw." Her eyes flicked to the screen, then away. "It's nothing, Armin. Just work stuff." "Work stuff?" My voice rose, though I tried to keep it calm. Since when does work need secrecy at midnight? She sighed, stepping closer. I didn't want you to overreact. I thought I was protecting you. Protecting me? Or protecting yourself? I spat, my chest tight. Do you even care about how this looks? I do care. Her voice trembled. I didn't know how to say it. I thought I could handle it. And then what? I pressed, my heart pounding like a drum. She looked down, fidgeting. I don't feel the same anymore. I never stopped thinking about him, and I can't pretend I do. I froze. Her words echoed like a slap in the face. You what? I'm sorry, Armin, she said softly. I didn't mean to hurt you. I thought we were happy, but... You thought we were happy? My voice cracked. We were perfect, weren't we? At least I thought we were. She avoided my eyes. I know. I'm sorry. I never wanted to lie, but I couldn't. I took a step back, my hands clenching. So it's over? Just like that? Yes. Her voice was calm, colder than I expected. I sank into the chair, numb. I don't understand. Was any of it real? She shook her head. It was real. But people change, Armin. Feelings change. I didn't want to hurt you, but I can't lie anymore. I stood up abruptly. So all those nights, all those promises were meaningless? No, they weren't meaningless, she whispered. I loved you at the time, but I can't do it anymore. I didn't know what to say. The room felt too small, my chest too heavy. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to make it all stop. The next morning, I found myself at the cafe with Rayhan. He looked up, noticing my dark circles and the way I avoided eye contact. You look like hell, he said flatly. You have no idea, I muttered, sipping my coffee. I have an idea, he said, leaning back. I warned you. People aren't always what they seem. I know, I said, rubbing my temples. But I really thought she loved me. Yeah, you did. And now you're learning the hard way. I don't know how to deal with it. I feel betrayed, angry, and stupid all at once. Rayhan shrugged. There's no easy way. You'll figure it out. Just don't do anything stupid. Later that day at work, I met Zara. She was new in the office, quiet but observant. I nearly bumped into her while heading to the printer. Whoa! Careful, she said softly, steadying me with a hand. Sorry, I muttered. I'm a little distracted. You seem upset. Want to talk? I hesitated. Nobody at work knew about my personal life. It's complicated, I admitted reluctantly. She nodded, her eyes gentle. I get it. Sometimes it helps just to tell someone. No judgment. Thanks, I said, surprised at how comforting her calm voice was. We didn't talk long, but I noticed how easy it felt to speak to her, like she understood pain without needing all the details. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Her confession replayed in my mind, her calm face, her words cutting deeper than anything I imagined. I felt hollow, betrayed, like someone had ripped the center out of me. Maybe Rayhan was right, I thought. Maybe people aren't what they seem. And yet, a small voice inside whispered that I couldn't let this destroy me. Somehow, I would find a way to survive the heartbreak. And maybe, just maybe, I wasn't as alone as I felt. I didn't sleep that night. Or maybe I did, for a few shallow hours. But the dreams were worse than the reality. Every laugh, every kiss, every whispered promise, flashes in my mind, twisting into something cruel. I called Rayhan the next morning. Amin, you sound like hell, he said. I feel like hell, I admitted. I can't stop thinking about her. You know thinking won't fix anything, he said. Don't let it eat you alive. I can't help it, I snapped. She's gone, Rayhan. She's gone, and I I stopped, choking on the words. You loved her. I get it, he said. But don't push everyone away. Don't disappear into this pit. I am fine, I lied. I just need space. Fine. But don't let this become an excuse to burn yourself down. After I hung up, I sat staring at my phone. I wanted to text her, scream, beg, anything. Instead, I scrolled aimlessly through social media and froze on her profile. A new post. A picture of her smiling with someone else. Her arm looped through his. My chest constricted so tight I thought I might collapse. I muttered to myself, How can she be so happy? The image was simple, harmless on its own, but to me, it was a knife twisting endlessly. I wanted to destroy something. Anything. I stomped around my apartment, yelling at the walls. Why? Why did she do this? I sank onto the couch and buried my face in my hands. Rayhan's words echoed faintly in my mind. Don't let it eat you alive. I wasn't listening. Something dark stirred inside me. Anger, shame, and a whisper of possibility. What if I could make her feel a fraction of what I'm feeling? I muttered aloud. The thought shocked me. I hated myself for thinking it, but it wouldn't leave. I called Rayhan again, my voice trembling. Maybe I should do something. Show her what she lost. You're talking about revenge, he said immediately, his tone sharp. That's not you, Armin. Don't let anger make your choices. I'm not. I stumbled over my words. I can't sit here and do nothing. I can't be the one who lost everything without a fight. Careful, he warned. There's a difference between standing up for yourself and letting hatred consume you. I know, I said quietly, but it's so hard. It feels like everything I had is slipping through my fingers. He sighed. I get it, but think. Every step you take now shapes who you become. Don't let this define you. I hung up, staring out the window at the city lights. Alone, vulnerable, angry, heartbroken. The night dragged on. I replayed our conversations, the way she laughed, the things she used to whisper to me when no one was around. Every memory felt poison now. I picked up my phone again, scrolling her profile obsessively. Comments, likes, shared jokes. Small things that once made me smile now stabbed at my chest. I should do something, I whispered. I should make her notice what she threw away. Rayhan's words clashed with my thoughts. Don't let hatred consume you. But the fire inside me ignored him, burning hotter with every image. Every smile of hers that wasn't mine. I remembered our last conversation. Her soft, unreadable face, her cold words. I could still hear her. I don't feel the same anymore. It echoed in my head, looping endlessly. I grabbed a notebook, scribbling ideas I knew were dangerous. Not for destruction, exactly, but for power, for control, for proof that I wasn't broken. I paused, breathing heavily. I can't let her win. I won't. I can't let this ruin me. Hours later, the city outside my window had quieted. My apartment was a mess. My chest still ached, but I felt awake, alert. A plan, however vague, had begun to form. Rayhan would hate it. I knew that, but I didn't care. I needed something, anything, to turn the pain into action. I whispered to myself, voice raw. She thinks she's moved on. She thinks I'm gone. But she's wrong. She hasn't seen anything yet. I sat there, the darkness pressing in, and for the first time since it all began, I felt like I had a purpose again. Not peace, not forgiveness, yet, but purpose. And maybe, just maybe, it was enough to pull me out of the abyss. I watched her from the coffee shop across the street, pretending to scroll through my phone. She laughed with someone else, tossing her hair, completely unaware I was there. My chest tightened, a mix of anger and something darker I hadn't named yet. Still obsessed? A voice said beside me. I jumped. A man in a sharp blazer leaned against the wall, holding a coffee. Who are you? I asked, startled. Faison, he said casually. And you look like someone who's about to ruin his life over a girl. I snorted. You have no idea. He smiled, almost smug. Try me. Pain like that, it can destroy you, or make you unstoppable. I frowned. And you're saying which one? He shrugged. Depends. Do you want to keep being a victim, or do you want to take control? I hesitated. I didn't know if I wanted control, or just revenge. Maybe both. Good answer, he said, his eyes sharp. First observation. Watch her carefully. Notice the habits you never paid attention to. The small things people don't see. Their weaknesses and strengths. I blinked. And that helps how? It helps you understand her. Understand the situation. Then you decide your move, not your emotions. I felt a flicker of hope. You mean, I can turn this around? Faison smirked. You can. But it's not just about her. It's about you, regaining what she tried to take. I left the coffee shop, mind racing. I couldn't stop replaying her laughter, the way she looked at him. My chest ached, but the ache was sharper now, focused almost fuel. I started noticing things. The way she tapped her pen when she was nervous, the way she laughed to hide discomfort, the subtle patterns I'd ignored before. Every habit became a piece of a puzzle, and for the first time since the betrayal, I felt a strange sense of clarity. Later, I met Faison again at the park. You're getting good at this, he said. Observing, learning, turning pain into awareness. It doesn't feel like enough, I admitted. I want more than awareness. I want control, he finished. Exactly. Control over your life, your emotions, and eventually, over the situation itself. I swallowed. But what if it consumes me? Then you do it right, he said, voice calm, almost hypnotic. Step by step. Every action must have purpose. Not anger. Not revenge alone. Purpose. I nodded slowly. I think I can do that. Good. Start small, he advised. Take back your mornings, your routines, your focus. Let the pain fuel action, not destruction. I left, walking the streets with a new energy. I replayed every moment with her in my mind, not with despair, but with strategy. Every interaction, every smile, every careless word, data, patterns, tools. At home, I made a list, not of her faults, but of ways I could regain control over my own life. Work, health, friends, my confidence. And yes, subtle ways to remind her of what she had lost. I called Rayhan. I'm starting to feel like myself again, I said cautiously. Is that good or bad? He asked, skeptical. Good, I said firmly. I'm still angry. I'm still hurt. But I think I'm turning it into something useful. Just don't cross the line, he warned. Anger is a wildfire. Make sure it warms, not burns. I will, I promised, though a part of me felt that line was already blurry. The next morning, I sat at my desk at work, jotting down reminders. Focus, improvement, subtle influence. Each word felt like a step away from the shadow she'd left behind. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was preparing. Later, on my lunch break, I spotted her walking past my office window. She didn't see me. I smiled to myself, quietly, almost viciously. Not because I wanted to hurt her, but because I realized I could feel strong again. Not weak, not heartbroken, not at her mercy. I can do this, I whispered, voice low, almost reverent. Not just for her, for me. And in that moment, I understood the first spark of revenge wasn't about her. It was about reclaiming my life, my pride, my future. She had lit the fire, but I would control the flames. I walked into the office that morning feeling lighter than I had in weeks. The usual hum of keyboards and printers felt different, like it was mine again. I passed her desk casually, pretending not to notice her new partner leaning too close, laughing at a joke I didn't care about. "Morning, Armin," he said, smirking. "Sleeping well, I hope?" I stopped, raising an eyebrow. "Better than last time I checked," I said smoothly. He blinked, caught off guard, and shrugged. "Right, well, enjoy the day." I moved past him, heart thumping in a way I hadn't felt since before it all went wrong. My phone buzzed. Faison. Time to take the first step. Subtle, precise, unavoidable. I smiled to myself. Subtle, precise, unavoidable. Words I was starting to live by. By noon, the promotion news hit. I had been chosen for the lead project, the one she and her new partner had been vying for. I felt my stomach tighten, not with fear, but with satisfaction. I saw her glance at me, a flicker of surprise in her eyes. And the partner? His mouth went dry mid-sentence when the announcement came over the PA. Later, I cornered him in the break room. "Congrats," I said, voice casual. "Looks like you're not in the spotlight anymore." He laughed nervously. "Yeah, well, management has their favorites, I guess." "Funny," I said, leaning slightly closer. "I thought work was supposed to be about skill, not favoritism." He flushed and muttered something, turning away. I watched him leave and felt a small, almost guilty thrill. Not revenge yet, not fully, but a first taste of influence. Rayhan called later that afternoon. "I saw the promotion. Congrats, I guess." "Thanks," I said, keeping my voice light. "Feels good to be recognized again." "You're changing, Armin," he said carefully. "I like that you're confident, but don't let this, whatever this is, turn you into someone you're not." "Someone I'm not?" I repeated. "I'm finally someone I am. Strong. In control. Focused." "You're focused on her again, aren't you?" I hesitated. "Maybe, but it's not just her. It's me. I'm reclaiming what I lost." He sighed. "Just don't forget where you started. Don't forget yourself in the process." I hung up and stared out the window, thinking about the little victories piling up. The partner avoided me now, unsure, hesitant. She noticed my calm composure, the subtle confidence I carried like armor. That evening, Faison met me at the cafe. "First move executed," he said, grinning. "How does it feel?" "Different," I admitted. "Good different. But I feel a little guilty." "Good," he said. "Guilt means you're human. Use it to temper your moves. Don't let it stop you completely." I nodded. "I can do that. But how far do I go? I don't want to hurt anyone unnecessarily." He leaned forward. "You're not hurting anyone. You're reclaiming your life. That's the difference. Subtlety is key. Influence without obvious aggression. Make her notice you without seeming vengeful. That's the art." I thought about it, tracing the rim of my coffee cup with my finger. Subtle influence. I like that. I can do that. The next day at work, I started small. A perfectly timed joke, a casual display of my new ideas in the project meeting. Just enough to make her notice. She glanced my way, expression unreadable, but I could feel the shift. Her partner's confident smirk faltered slightly whenever I spoke. "Armin," she said quietly as we left the conference room, "you're different." "Different how?" I asked, keeping my tone light. "You just seem more in control," she said, almost reluctantly. I smiled faintly, keeping my eyes level with hers. I guess I just needed to focus on myself for a change. Inside, I felt a surge of satisfaction. Small victories like this mattered more than I'd expected. Every glance, every faltering smile from him, every acknowledgement from her. It was proof I could influence my world again. But when I left the office and called Rayhan, His voice was cautious. I don't like this path you're on. I see the drive. But there's a fine line between reclaiming yourself and becoming someone you used to despise. I know, I said softly. But maybe this is exactly who I'm supposed to be now. Stronger, smarter, unafraid. Just promise me you won't cross the line, he said. I won't, I promised, though a part of me knew the line had already blurred. That night, I went over the day in my head. The promotion, her glance, his hesitation, my own rising confidence. Everything felt like a first step into a new life. I wasn't weak anymore. I wasn't heartbroken and lost. I was aware, precise, and for the first time in months, in control. And yet, as I looked at my reflection in the dark window, I caught the tiniest flicker of doubt. Was I reclaiming my life? Or was I starting to enjoy the power too much? I whispered to myself, voice low but firm. It's not just about her. It's about me. Always about me. And for now, that was enough. I couldn't stop thinking about her that morning, even as I walked into the office. The air felt heavier, the usual clatter of keyboards and printers somehow sharper. Amen? Zara's soft voice startled me. You okay? I rubbed my temples. I'm trying to be. You're not fooling anyone, she said, her eyes kind but sharp. I can see the storm in you. I sighed, leaning against the wall. It's her. Every time I think I'm past it, she does something that pulls me back. Like what? I hesitated. Could I tell her the truth? The social media post, the promotion, the smoldering revenge plan I was carefully unfolding? I found out why she left me. I admitted finally. Or at least a part of it. Zara tilted her head. Go on. It wasn't just carelessness or a whim. She made choices I didn't understand at the time. Choices to protect herself, to survive. Maybe for career reasons. She didn't just betray me. I stopped, the words tasting bitter. She made a hard choice, Zara finished gently. Does that excuse it? No, I said sharply. But it complicates everything. I thought I hated her, but now I don't know. Part of me still loves her. Part of me is furious. And I don't know which is stronger. Zara nodded slowly. That makes sense. Life isn't always black and white, Armin. Sometimes people act out of fear or necessity, not cruelty. I ran a hand through my hair. It doesn't make it easier. It doesn't undo the pain. No, she said softly, but understanding it can give you power over it. Her calm perspective hit me harder than any anger ever had. Power over it? I repeated. Yes, not revenge this time, she said, leaning closer. Clarity. Control. Knowing why things happened means you decide your next step, instead of being dragged along by emotion. I stared at her, feeling something I hadn't felt in months, a flicker of trust. And what if I can't decide? What if all I feel is anger and loss? Then you take a step at a time, she said simply. One moment, one decision. Don't rush it. You'll know what's right when it matters. I exhaled slowly, letting her words sink in. Maybe she was right. Maybe my obsession with subtle provocations and revenge wasn't the only path. Later, I found myself staring at her profile again, but this time not with anger, not with jealousy, but with curiosity. Her choices, her hesitation, the look in her eyes in that last meeting, they weren't careless. She had calculated risk, weighed consequences. Survival, yes, but also fear. Fear of losing everything if she stayed. I whispered under my breath. I never thought of it like that, not like that. Zara appeared again at my side, as if reading my thoughts. See? You're starting to untangle it. Pain doesn't have to blind you. I shook my head. It still hurts. It still stings every time I remember what I lost. But maybe it's not just about losing her. Maybe it's about learning. Exactly, she said. And learning doesn't mean forgiving or forgetting yet. Just understanding. You don't have to rush love or hate or trust. You just exist with it. I nodded, feeling the tension in my shoulders ease slightly. For the first time since the betrayal, I felt a little clarity. Not closure, not relief, just understanding. Later that night, I met Faison briefly, and even he seemed to notice the change. I see you're evolving, he said, a hint of approval in his voice. Your focus is sharper, your strategy cleaner. But he leaned back, letting the word hang. You're thinking differently now, aren't you? I am, I admitted. I don't want to just play her game. I want to understand it. Understand her. Understand me. Faison smiled, enigmatic as ever. Good. That's the first step to real control. Revenge is a shallow victory. Understanding, that's power. When I got home, I sat alone for hours, replaying conversations, revisiting memories. The playful laughter, the whispers, the moments she leaned on me. They weren't tainted now. They were context, pieces of a complicated puzzle. I realized I still loved her, yes, and I still resented her. But now I also understood her, and understanding brought a strange calm, a new dimension of thought, a way to reclaim my power not just through victory, but through perception, through patience. I whispered to myself, voice soft, almost reverent. It wasn't just betrayal. It was survival, fear, choice. I can't hate her entirely. I can't love blindly either. But I can learn. The phone buzzed. Zara had sent a message. Proud of you. Remember, you're not alone in this. I smiled faintly, a warmth spreading through my chest I hadn't expected. Maybe I wasn't entirely alone anymore. Maybe there was someone who could see me. Not just my anger, not just my pain, but the person I was trying to become. I leaned back in my chair, eyes fixed on the ceiling. Masks falling. I muttered. Not hers, mine. I'm seeing everything clearly now. And maybe that's enough to move forward. I heard the news before I even saw her. The setback at work, the minor scandal she couldn't have anticipated, whispers spreading through the office. I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and hesitation. Karma. Or opportunity. Armin, you heard? Rayhan's voice pulled me back. He looked uneasy, his brow furrowed. People are talking about her. I heard, I admitted, my voice quieter than usual. It's unfortunate, but maybe it's just life catching up. Rayhan shook his head. It doesn't feel right to. I know, I interrupted. I don't want to intervene. Not yet. I need to see how it unfolds. Later, I found her in the cafeteria, surrounded by colleagues, her smile forced, eyes wary. A few family friends had stopped by. The subtle pressure was evident. She looked small, though she tried to stand tall. Armin, she said, surprised. I didn't expect to see you here. I sat across from her, letting the silence stretch. You didn't expect me, huh? I asked softly, almost tenderly. No, she admitted. I wasn't sure if I could face you. Good, I said, my voice low. Because I need to say what I feel. I need you to understand. Her eyes flicked down, guilt creeping in. I know I hurt you, she whispered. Yes, you did, I said sharply, leaning forward. Do you even know how much? How every day since I've been tearing myself apart trying to understand why. I thought I had to make choices, she said quietly. Choices I thought were best for me, for us, for everything. For everything? I echoed, anger and pain blending into something raw. You chose fear. You chose survival. And you left me behind. Do you know what that feels like? Her lips trembled. I didn't know how to tell you. I wasn't brave enough. Not brave enough? I laughed bitterly, the sound hollow. I was in love with you. I trusted you. And you couldn't even be honest. I'm sorry, she whispered again. I truly am. I shook my head, chest tight. Sorry isn't enough. Not after everything. You think people just forget betrayal? Forget broken promises? She looked at me, eyes glistening. No, I know. I know it's not enough. I wanted a chance to explain. To show you it wasn't all shallow. I paused, the raw pain and faint empathy colliding. Shallow? I never thought it was shallow. That's the worst part. I thought I knew you. I thought we had forever. And I was wrong. Her voice was barely audible. I never wanted to hurt you, Armin. I really didn't. I leaned back, taking a deep breath. Rayhan stood a few steps away, silent, observing. Faison's words echoed in my mind. Closure can't always come from revenge. I swallowed, forcing myself to stay calm. I don't know if I can forgive you. Maybe I won't. But I needed to say this. Needed you to see what your choices did to me. She nodded, tears escaping now, uncontrolled. I understand. I'll never stop regretting it. And yet, I said, softer now. Life moves forward. You face setbacks, people notice, consequences unfold. And here I am, trying to rebuild myself. She flinched, then looked away. I didn't know it would hurt this much. It did, I admitted. And it still does. But maybe that's how it should be. Maybe pain is the teacher we ignore too often. Her lips trembled again. Armin, no. I interrupted gently. No more words. Not today. Just remember. Remember the damage. Remember the choices. And maybe learn from them. She nodded, wiping her eyes, and for a long moment we just sat there, the noise around us fading into background static. I glanced at Rayhan, who gave me a small nod. Silent support, steady. Then I caught Faison's eyes from across the room. He didn't smile. He only nodded once, the faintest warning. Power is not the same as peace. I left the cafeteria, chest heavy but lighter than I'd expected. The confrontation hadn't healed everything. It hadn't erased the pain, but it had clarified it. I saw her clearly, myself clearly, and even if I couldn't forgive, even if resentment lingered, I wasn't trapped in the haze of obsession anymore. Outside, I paused, looking at the city skyline. Lights glimmered, oblivious to our tiny, private reckoning. I whispered under my breath. It's not about revenge. Not anymore. It's about closure, even if it's incomplete. It's about me moving forward. A message buzzed in my pocket. Zara, proud of you today. Healing takes courage. I smiled faintly, a warmth spreading across my chest I hadn't felt in months. Perhaps I could heal, even without revenge. Perhaps clarity, honesty, and understanding were the real victory. I exhaled, feeling the tension in my shoulders ease slightly. One step at a time, I whispered. One step at a time. The setback she faced would teach her lessons. Social pressure would remind her of consequences. But I was no longer at her mercy, no longer consumed by what she did. I had spoken. I had witnessed. I had reclaimed my dignity. And in that moment, I understood. The reckoning wasn't just hers. It was mine too. My reckoning was not revenge. It was truth, honesty, and finally letting myself breathe again. I woke up that morning feeling different. Lighter, sharper, like a weight had finally lifted from my chest. The old ache, the obsession with her, it was still there in the corners, but muted, distant, manageable. Zara was the first person I called. Morning, she said, cheerful but gentle. Morning, I replied, a small smile tugging at my lips. I think I'm ready to focus on myself. Not her, not the past. That's good, she said warmly. Really good. How do you feel? Stronger, I admitted. Wiser. Still hurt, of course, but ready to move forward. She chuckled softly. Finally. Took you long enough. Yeah, well, I laughed, though it felt honest this time. Better late than never, right? We met at the cafe later. Our usual spot. She poured me coffee without asking. A small ritual we'd established over weeks. You've changed, she said quietly, glancing at me. I have, I agreed. And I'm okay with it. Not anyone else's expectations, not anyone's mistakes. Just me. You look at peace, she said softly. Even if it's quiet, it's there. I nodded. I'm learning to separate my life from what she did, from what I thought I lost. There's more to live for, more to build, and maybe someone to share it with. She raised an eyebrow. Someone? Maybe, I admitted, voice low but steady. Someone real. Someone who sees me for me, not my anger or heartbreak. Her eyes softened. I think that's healthy. That's good, Armin. We talked for hours about work, life, silly things, serious things. For the first time in months, I laughed without restraint. I shared my thoughts, fears, ambitions. She listened, not judging, only supporting. You know, she said after a pause, you've come a long way. From the guy I saw crumpled, consumed by someone else's choices, to this. Confident, aware, alive. I smiled, feeling the truth of it sink in. I couldn't have done it alone. You helped more than you realize. Flattery, she said lightly, but I caught the warmth. Later, Faison called. His tone was calm, approving. I hear you're handling things differently now. I am, I admitted. I realized revenge wouldn't satisfy me. Power isn't the same as peace. Understanding and control over myself. That's what matters. He chuckled softly. You finally learned the lesson, huh? Most people never do. But keep building yourself. Don't look back unless it's to measure how far you've come. I will, I said firmly. And thank you for guidance, not just strategy. That mattered more than I expected. You've got it now, he said simply. Use it wisely. After hanging up, I walked the streets, thinking about everything. Betrayal, heartbreak, obsession. It had all shaped me. The late nights, the social media spirals, the confrontations, all of it had led me here, to this clarity. I saw her face flash in my mind. Not the face of someone I hated, not the face of someone I longed for, but just a memory, part of the past, not a chain around my neck. I whispered to myself, it's not revenge. It's not obsession. It's life. My choices. The next day at work, I presented my project with confidence. Every idea executed with precision. Every interaction measured but warm. Colleagues noticed, respect replacing doubt. Even her partner from before glanced at me, slightly off balance, as if recognizing the new version of me. I didn't care about their reactions anymore. I cared about my own path, my own growth. During lunch, Zara and I sat quietly. You've changed, she said again. And not just at work. Inside, too. I know, I said, smiling. I feel it. Not perfect, not healed completely, but aware, strong, and okay with myself. She reached out, touching my hand lightly. I think you're ready for happiness, Armin. Real happiness. I looked into her eyes, seeing sincerity and warmth. Maybe I am, I admitted. And maybe it starts with not letting the past define me, not letting anger dictate my choices. We sat there, a quiet connection forming, built on understanding, trust, and subtle affection. Not obsession, not desperation, just a bond that felt real. That evening, I reflected on the journey. Every betrayal, heartbreak, near obsession. It had forged me into someone more capable, more aware, more alive. I had felt every low, every surge of anger, every shred of despair. And I had survived. I whispered to myself, voice soft but certain. I am stronger. I am wiser. And I'm free. I called Rayhan. I'm finally okay, I said. He laughed softly. Took you long enough. I'm proud of you. Thanks, I said. Really, I couldn't have done it alone either. Hanging up, I looked out the window, the city glowing in the evening light. The old love, the pain, the rage. They were all parts of my past, not chains. I felt a subtle happiness rising, not forced, not desperate, but quiet, steady, alive. Zara's message buzzed again. Coffee tomorrow? I smiled, typing back. Definitely. Looking forward to it. For the first time in months, I felt clarity, peace, and possibility. Not revenge, not obsession, just life, reclaimed, steady, and mine. And that was enough. I was finishing my report at the office when my phone buzzed. A name flashed across the screen, one I hadn't expected to see in months. Armin, her text read. I stared at it, thumb hovering over the screen. My heart didn't leap, my chest didn't tighten. Only a strange calm settled over me. I typed back slowly. Yes? A minute later, the reply came. I need to say something. I was wrong. Everything. I'm sorry. Truly. I leaned back in my chair, closing my eyes. The old pain, the nights of endless torment, the obsessive spirals. They were memories now, echoes. I thought I knew pain. I whispered to myself. But now I understood that pain had shaped me, not destroyed me. I typed back carefully. I've moved on. I hope you understand that this conversation doesn't change anything. Her reply was almost instant. I do. I just needed to apologize. No expectations. I hope you're well. I am. I texted. Better than ever. I set the phone down and exhaled. The sense of control, of inner peace, was like nothing I'd experienced before. I didn't need her acknowledgement to validate me anymore. The betrayal, the heartbreak, it had forged something stronger inside me. Later, Zara walked in with a smile. Hey, she said, holding 2 coffees. You look calm. Different. I am, I admitted, taking the cup. I just had a conversation with someone from my past. Made me realize how far I've come. She raised an eyebrow. Past? Care to elaborate? I laughed lightly, feeling a warm weight in my chest. Nothing to worry about. Just closure. On my terms. Zara sat across from me, eyes soft. I'm proud of you, Armin. You've really changed. Not just surviving, thriving. Thanks, I said, smiling genuinely. It feels good to live for myself, not for anger or revenge or old pain. To actually enjoy small moments. Like coffee with me? She teased. I chuckled. Exactly like coffee with you. The rest of the day passed smoothly. Even seeing her new partner briefly in the hallway didn't rattle me. He glanced at me, a flicker of arrogance and then hesitation, as if he realized I wasn't the same man I used to be. And I wasn't. That evening, I went for a walk, thinking about everything. Her apology, the setbacks she faced, the choices she'd made, it all seemed distant now. Not irrelevant, not forgotten, but contained. A chapter closed. Zara's hand brushed mine as we walked. You seem lighter, she said softly. I am, I replied. For the first time in months, I don't feel like a prisoner of the past. I'm free. She smiled, squeezing my hand. I'm glad. You deserve that. I nodded, feeling a warmth I hadn't thought possible back when the betrayal had consumed me. I never thought I'd feel this normal. Content. But I do. And it's not just surviving. It's living. Zara laughed softly. Normal sounds good. Maybe even happiness? Maybe, I admitted. And it's quiet, subtle. not the obsession or heartbreak I thought defined me. It's real. Later, at home, I sat alone for a moment, reflecting. I thought about her again, not with anger, not with longing, but with clarity. She made mistakes, hurt me deeply, and tried to reach out. But I didn't need her validation or remorse. My life, my growth, my sense of self, that was my own. I whispered to myself, voice steady. I thought I knew pain. I didn't. Not until I survived it. Not until I learned how to let it shape me rather than destroy me. A message buzzed from Zara. Movie night tomorrow? I'll bring popcorn. I smiled, typing back. Can't wait. That night, I looked out the window at the city lights, thinking about how far I'd come. Betrayal had been a storm, heartbreak a flood, but I had walked through both. I wasn't bitter. I wasn't broken. I was alive, aware, and ready for the future. Her apology would remain a memory. Her new life, her choices, they no longer held sway over me. And her new partner? A reminder that the world moved on, as I had. Subtle karma, quiet lessons, life continuing naturally without my interference. I leaned back, eyes closing. The journey, the tears, the rage, the near obsession, the heartbreak. It had all been necessary. I had emerged stronger, wiser, and more capable of love that didn't demand sacrifice of self. Zara's presence beside me, her understanding, her quiet companionship. They were proof that life could heal, subtly, without force. And that was the most satisfying victory of all. I whispered one last time. I thought I knew pain, but now I know strength. Now I know clarity. Now I know myself. And for the first time in what felt like forever, I slept without shadows haunting me.